There's a fundamental desire woven into all of us, isn't there? That deep-seated need for security, especially, when we're in our own homes.
Definitely, it's home base, your safe space.
Exactly. And when we step out, when we leave that sanctuary, we often place our trust in others, maybe friends, family, or even professionals, to keep that feeling of safety going.
Right. You hope everything stays just as you left it.
And house sitting, well, on the surface, it seems like such a straightforward deal, doesn't it? Almost idyllic. Watch a place, maybe look after some pets, make a bit of cash. What could possibly go wrong?
It really is seen that way, isn't it? Like this low-risk, high-trust situation. You're usually in a place that feels familiar, or at least, the boundaries are clear.
Yeah, the instructions are normally pretty simple.
And the expectation for everyone involved is just peace of mind, total peace of mind.
But today, we're going to peel back the layers on what happens when that very foundation of security doesn't just crack, it completely shatters. We're going to share a series of, truly unsettling real-life accounts. These are from people who took on these seemingly simple house-sitting jobs, only to find themselves in utterly terrifying, completely unexpected situations.
Yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to explore those chilling moments, when the very place that's meant to provide security becomes the source of, profound fear.
And these aren't just, one-off weird stories. The accounts we've pulled together today, they come from a compilation of true experiences.
Right.
And they offer this really stark, almost unsettling glimpse into vulnerabilities we maybe don't think about often. They really challenge our basic ideas about safety and trust.
Okay, let's jump right into our first story. And this one, it kind of highlights the double-edged sword of technology, funnily enough.
Okay.
So imagine this. A college student, a computer science major, gets a little job offer from their dad's coworker. $200 for 2 days just to watch your house. Sounds like easy money, right?
Seems like it.
Yes.
Standard house sitting gig.
But here's the twist. This house has an extensive CCTV system. Like a camera in every single room, all feeding back to a main monitor setup in an upstairs room.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of surveillance.
Yeah.
And one key detail here is what the owner tells the student. He sort of suggests, he prefers they stay mostly in that upstairs room with the monitors rather than just wandering around.
Right. So it immediately isolates the house sitter, doesn't it? Turns them into an observer, basically.
Yeah, like a sentry almost, but kind of stuck at one post.
And here's where the irony really hits. This computer science student, hired specifically to, monitor, ends up doing the complete opposite, at first anyway.
Okay.
They get absorbed in schoolwork, watching TV, basically paying zero attention to what's happening on those screens. Night falls, they're just trying to figure out where to sleep, slump back down at the desk, and finally glance at the monitors to maybe find a comfy spot downstairs. And that's when it hits them. The downstairs back screen door is wide open, and they know with this chilling certainty it wasn't open before.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is where that false sense of security from just having cameras around becomes horrifyingly clear.
Exactly.
The cameras are there, they're recording, but if no one's actively watching, they're just documenting a potential threat, not stopping it. That initial, casual attitude the student had, it must have just vanished into pure panic.
Panic doesn't even begin to describe it. They frantically start flipping through the other camera views, and in the living room view, a closet door is ajar. Again, something they absolutely knew was closed earlier.
Okay, so multiple things are wrong now.
Yes. They're texting their dad, like, is the owner home? Did she come back early? Desperate for some explanation. And as they're doing this, still staring at this grainy, dark monitor image of the living room, it happens.
Yet.
A tall, black, shadow-like figure steps out from that closet. The student is just frozen, covers their mouth in shock, completely paralyzed.
Oh my God. And what's absolutely chilling here is the reaction. The student, in their shock, accidentally knocks something heavy off the desk.
Right.
Makes a loud thud. And the figure on screen, it clearly reacts. Turns its head upwards towards the sound.
Yes.
So this confirms it's not a recording glitch, not a trick of the light.
Yeah.
There's an intruder. They are present, aware, and crucially, they heard that noise. They know someone's upstairs.
And then comes the truly agonizing part. The intruder starts walking slowly. So slowly, step by step, up the stairs.
Terrifying suspense.
While this is happening, the student gets a text back from their dad. No, he's not home, just spoke to him. But they get so wrapped up in reading the text, texting back, that they stop watching the monitors for just a critical second.
Ah, that's understandable, but so dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like that primal human instinct reaching out for help, communicating, overriding the immediate danger awareness. That momentary distraction, looking at the phone, it almost proved fatal. It really shows how quickly our focus can shift away from a physical threat when we're trying to process information or get help.
Because then, the sound that just freezes your blood. A knock. A sudden, chilling knock at the door of the room the student is in. They glance at the door, then frantically back at the screens, and the first camera view they see shows the person standing right outside their door.
Oh, God.
And the immediate, horrifying realization hits them. This door has no lock.
Oh, no.
The only option, that raw instinct kicks in, jump out the window, into the bushes below, and just run as fast as they can down the block.
Wow. Just, wow. That brings up such a critical point, doesn't it? What does it really mean to be safe when your physical barriers fail or when you're in a place you don't fully know?
Yeah.
That student's quick thinking, that leap, it saved them. But the sheer terror of that moment, the violation of privacy, of personal space, is unimaginable. It really teaches us that sometimes the only thing you can rely on is your own immediate, desperate action.
And the aftermath is just as chilling. The student's dad calls the owner confirms nobody was supposed to be there, police get involved, review the footage.
And it shows everything.
Shows everything. The intruder breaking glass to get in the back door, the student jumping out the window, and then the intruder running away shortly after that. But here's the kicker. The intruder was never found.
Why not? With all those cameras.
The footage was just too dark, too grainy apparently. Couldn't identify their face.
So this story really lays bare the paradox of modern security, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, the more we rely on this kind of passive surveillance, the more we might actually lull ourselves into a false sense of security. True safety isn't just about having cameras. It's about, active awareness, making quick decisions, and that primal instinct to act when the tech fails to actually protect you or even identify the threat later.
Yeah, the camera confirmed the danger, but it couldn't stop it or bring justice.
Exactly.
Okay, so from the chilling silence and high-tech dread of that house, let's shift gears a bit to a more unassuming setting where the threat wasn't digital but disturbingly close. Our next story features a friend who agrees to house sit just for one night. Small fee. They know the house, they're looking after pets, cats, fish, birds. Everything seems perfectly normal, really standard.
Right. Sounds very routine. But it's interesting to note where this friend chose to sleep. They picked the sunroom, called it their favorite room.
Okay.
But think about what a sunroom usually is. It's often a smallish room, maybe added on, surrounded by windows.
Oh, right. Very exposed.
Exactly. Under normal circumstances, that might feel nice, open, airy. But in a threatening situation, it becomes terrifyingly vulnerable. It's like vulnerability disguised as comfort.
So they fall asleep, TV's on for background noise, but they wake up suddenly when the TV turns off, plunging the room into darkness.
That alone would be unsettling.
For sure. Then the subtle sounds begin. First, they hear the PVC gate outside closing. And initially, they just dismiss it, maybe the wind.
Yeah, that's a classic human reaction, isn't it?
Right.
We instinctively try to rationalize away those early warning signs. Our minds look for the least threatening explanation first.
But then, a distinct sound, a leaf crunching outside. That confirms it. It's not the wind. Someone is definitely out there.
Okay, so the rationalization stops. Now it's real.
And that's when they look again. And what they see is just absolutely terrifying. Someone is literally pressed up against the glass of the window, right behind the couch where they're lying, looking in.
Oh, that's so awful.
And the uncertainty of whether that person could actually see them lying there in the dark, it must have been agonizing. Just that face pressed right against the glass.
The psychological impact of being watched like that, having your personal space invaded just visually,
Right.
it's immense.
Right.
Instantly changes a comforting home into a fishbowl, where you're suddenly the unwitting prey.
Yeah.
It's a profound violation before anyone even touches anything.
So the friend, just on pure instinct, yells at them to fuck off. But shockingly, this doesn't scare the person away.
Really? It didn't work.
No. Instead, the person just calmly walks over to the back door and tries the doorknob.
Oh, wow. Okay, escalation.
The friend, now completely terrified, leaps for the phone and screams, "I'm calling the police!" Thankfully, that finally makes the intruder run off.
Okay, good. That worked. But you'd think calling the police would be the immediate next step, right?
You would. But the friend doesn't actually call 911. They just text the homeowner about an almost break-in.
That suggests maybe a level of shock Or perhaps just wanting it to be over, not wanting to escalate it further with official reports.
Yeah.
But it leaves this gap.
Yeah.
It's kind of a reminder of how that fight or flight response can sometimes prioritize just escaping the immediate threat over a maybe more logical follow-up.
And the really unsettling consequence is revealed the next morning. The homeowners come back, and they find all 4 tires on their sedan, which they'd left parked there, slashed.
Oh, okay. So there was follow-through. Just different. This really points to broader implications, doesn't it?
Seems like it.
Even the least terrifying explanation they could think of, that maybe someone had a grudge against the family, is still deeply unsettling. Because if it's not targeted, if it's random, that can feel even scarier somehow.
True.
This story really highlights how those seemingly minor details, a quiet room, indistinct sounds, the vulnerability of windows, can suddenly become sources of intense fear when a threat appears. And the psychological impact of feeling targeted, even if you aren't physically harmed, that can stick with you.
Absolutely. Our final story. This one truly delves into the heart of vulnerability, the terror of absolute invasion.
Okay.
It starts with another college student, experienced babysitter, sees an ad for house sitting. Sounds perfect like babysitting, but no kids, decent pay, $200 for the weekend. They call the number, speak to a man named Chuck.
Right.
The student describes the house as huge, multiple spare bedrooms upstairs, and this immediately creates that sense of, well, profound isolation within the sheer size of the place.
Yeah, in such a large, unfamiliar house, you're not just alone. You can feel almost lost. It makes you feel incredibly vulnerable, like your sense of control is just diminished by the scale of it.
So the first day is pretty uneventful. The student actually feels like they're missing out on a Friday night, but the $200 is good motivation.
Sure.
They even find themselves wondering why this couple needed a house sitter at all. No pets to look after. They just figure, it must be for a sense of security for their very nice, large home.
And, here comes the irony again.
Exactly. The very reason they were hired to provide that sense of security is about to be utterly, viscerally shattered.
It just highlights how much our feeling of safety relies on these assumptions, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Assumptions can just be completely demolished in an instant.
So later that night, the student is in bed watching a movie, just minutes from falling asleep. And then a slight click. And a sudden glow of light wakes them completely.
A glow? From where?
They open their eyes fully and see light creeping out from under the crack of a door. It takes a second for the horrifying realization to sink in. It's coming from a closet door in their room.
Oh no, not in the room. That's next level terrifying.
The student's heart just rockets. They pull the sheets right up to their chin, eyes wide open in the dark, pretending to be asleep, absolutely certain someone is in that closet.
The fear must be paralyzing.
Absolutely. The fear of making any noise, of letting the intruder know they're awake.
Yeah.
It's palpable. The account says words truly can't describe the terror, just lying there, feeling like each minute could be their last.
Just waiting. That's awful.
The agony just continues. They hear the closet door open, even though they're facing the other way. Then the room goes dark again with another click, a bit louder this time, and the quiet sound of the closet door closing again.
So the light's gone now.
Lights gone, silence. Dead silence. The student's mind is just racing. Whoever it was must have seen them lying there, right? The crushing feel of trying to run and being chased, that awful oppressive silence in the room. What do you do? How do you even move?
The specific sounds, the clicks, the opening and closing. It creates this unbearable psychological suspense. And the decision to eventually peek after that agonizing wait, that's a moment of just pure, desperate dread.
Yeah.
It's that fundamental human need to know, to confirm, even when confirming could bring immediate catastrophic danger.
And here's where the story takes its most terrifying turn.
Yeah.
The student decides, okay, I have to look, gotta peek over, just make sure the coast is clear. They flip over and see someone standing right next to the bed, hand reaching out towards them.
No, my God.
The immediate primal reaction. They pull their arms up, ball themselves up, back against the headboard or wall in just pure shock. And the intruder shows no signs of leaving, just standing there, silent.
What?
The student, fueled by just raw adrenaline, leaps over the foot of the bed, makes a run for the door, scrambles down the stairs, bursts out the front door, and just runs. Doesn't look back.
Wow. That is a profound and unparalleled violation of personal space and safety. The sheer terror of waking up to find an intruder inside your immediate space, right next to your bed, it's almost unimaginable.
Yeah.
And the psychological impact is clearly so deep. The student's reaction afterwards, running all the way home, calling Chuck and just saying, it's your problem now, refusing callbacks, not even caring about the $200 anymore.
Right, just want it out.
It speaks volumes about the trauma. All thoughts of money or responsibility are just gone, abandoned in favor of pure survival and escaping that horrifying memory. It really shows how incredibly vulnerable we could be in unfamiliar places, even ones that are supposed to be safe.
These stories, I mean, each one is chilling in its own way, but they weave this common, unsettling thread, don't they? House sitting this task we often see as simple, straightforward, safe, can actually expose people to profound, utterly unexpected dangers.
They really force us to reflect on our deepest perceptions of security. Whether it's seeing the limits of high-tech surveillance like in the first story, or the surprising vulnerability of seemingly cozy spaces like the sunroom.
Or the absolute terror of someone being inside your bedroom while you sleep.
Exactly. These accounts highlight how even in environments we assume are secure, completely unpredictable and terrifying threats can just arise out of nowhere.
It truly makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does it actually mean to feel genuinely safe? And how much of that safety feeling relies on these unspoken assumptions we make?
Assumptions about locks working, about quiet nights staying quiet, about, the basic goodwill of others.
Assumptions that can just be shattered in an instant. How do our perceptions of trust, of privacy shift when those fundamental boundaries are violated in the most terrifying ways imaginable?
It's a profound thought to carry with you, definitely. A chilling reminder, perhaps, that true safety might be a bit more elusive, a bit more fragile than we often like to admit.